Warning. This video contains spoilers for the entire film. We here at Cult Campground Cinema suggest that you watch the film for yourself, if at all possible, before watching this video. Zombie Night is a 2003 Canadian zombie horror film directed by David J. Francis and stars Danny Tiknovich as Dave, who of course you'll remember from as well as a bunch of other one-and-doners. It is, after all, a low-budget horror movie, so no surprise there. The story is this. In the aftermath of World War III, chemicals from the war have turned people into flesh-hungry zombies. You son of a bitch! The survivors do what they can to continue to survive the zombies, and each other, in this post-apocalyptic world. Zombie Night was filmed in what I imagine was only a couple of days in Toronto and Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, for an estimated 70,000 Canadian dollars. It sits at a wonderful 2.7 on IMDb, so it's right up my alley. Speaking of alleys, the movie opens with a man in a filthy alley eating out of a garbage can, because of course it does. Suddenly, a zombie pops out of the darkness and bites him. The zombie then proceeds to chomp down on the man's garden hose? Then boom, opening credits. We have a movie, folks. Sometime later, or earlier, not sure, in stretched out footage to fit the aspect ratio land, we have a family taking a nice drive in the countryside. This is Mark, played by Johnny Cole, the only legitimate actor in the whole film. Hey look, he has a photo on IMDb. And other credits. Huh. Mark is with Amber and his daughter Emily. The news breaks in on the radio, and we cut to the exposition news reports. Or resports? Everything has gone to hell. Everybody is bombing everybody. It's World War III. Mark and Amber decide to head to a warehouse to hide after the car suddenly stops working. They hunker down in the warehouse, and Mark takes a look around to make sure the coast is clear and maybe find some food. Suddenly, a gun is in his face. It's Dave, and he needs help. The pair head out so that Dave can get back to his family. On the way, they run across some bodies, and Dave informs Mark on what's going on.
Sick ones got to them.
The sick ones?
Something happened. It changed people. I don't know what. It's been in the news for weeks. Where have you been?
The cottage. There's no TV or radio.
My wife. And my little girl. Something is turning everything in its range into zombies.
Oh, zombies. You had me worried for a minute. I was afraid you were going to say vampires or werewolves.
You'll see for yourself.
Right. When the sun goes down and the living dead roam the earth? I think you've watched too many B movies, buddy.
Hey, what's wrong with B movies? They make it to where Dave's family is hiding out. There's a scream and Dave rushes in. Then a gunshot. Mark isn't so eager.
Fuck!
Inside the warehouse, Dave's daughter has turned and bitten her mother. Dave had to kill what was once his daughter. He's a little less upset than you would think. Dave's wife then turns. He has to shoot her. As she takes a nice slow sit down, Dave becomes a tad more upset. Meanwhile, at Warehouse A, Amber and Emily are hiding out as a horde of zombies are trying to get in. And back at Warehouse B, Mark and Dave are joined by Keith, played by Steve Curtis. He has a British accent, so you know he means business. Then another guy bursts in total jerk mode. This is Derek, played by Dwayne Moniz. Dave isn't having any of his crap, so he proceeds to punch his face in. Dave doesn't like that Derek pulled a gun on him, even though he pulled a gun on Mark just a few minutes earlier. Mark and Dave let in a few more survivors. Then we have the greatest line of the movie.
Well, let's go kill ourselves some zombies then.
Our gang all grab the supplies that Dave has and heads to Warehouse A to reunite Mark and his family. Hey, look at this. The survivors have multiplied. Gotta have plenty of meat for the body count, after all. On the way back to the warehouse, we lose 2 unnamed survivors to the horde outside. The rest continue onward. And back at Warehouse A, and in a different color grading, everyone is back together. But we do lose another one off camera. Down in the basement, new survivor Shelley, played by Sandra Segovich, fills in Amber on what's going on. She isn't too fazed by the news, though. So it's all good. Keith and Emily have a wholesome moment.
He talks funny.
What was that?
He's not from around here, sweetie.
I don't talk funny. You do.
Do not.
Do too.
Do not.
Then Mark and Dave have a look around.
Hey, you almost got my family killed back there.
At least you still have one.
Oof. They stumble across Derek, who's been hiding away and eating up a bunch of the supplies. Dave's pissed because he bought those groceries. Bought? Where? Hasn't the world basically ended? Anyway, Dave wants to kill Derek for being a jerk. Mark calms him down, though. They all go back up to meet with the others. Now they gotta make a plan. So they plan. And plan. And plan. Derek suddenly is compelled to be a jerk again. It makes Mark so mad that he forgets his lines.
Hey, would you mind keeping your language down around my child?
Derek wants to leave, so they let him. But Dave doesn't want him crawling back.
And if you try and come back, we'll shoot you.
Some time passes and Derek is running around with a shotgun he found somewhere.
You son of a bitch!
He's banging on the door to our gang's warehouse to be let back in. They do, and Dave doesn't shoot him as promised, unfortunately. Morning comes and Dave decides that it's time for them to leave the warehouse and head out because he feels it isn't safe anymore. On their adventure, they run into a group of Canadian good old boys who are taunting a zombie woman who has been chained up. Our gang chooses to keep a low profile and totally sneak by. The zombie woman bites one of the good old boys and his friends just laugh and make fun of him.
In my house, sucker! Help me! Get in there!
Our group, who just seems to keep multiplying, finds a new spot to hide out.
Mark, you look around the second floor.
Rick? Who the hell is Rick? Oh, that's Rick. He must have been introduced to us off camera or something. Derek starts an argument again, and the classic point of contention is brought up. Barricade up somewhere or have a place to run. Derek shows Keith a cigarette. In the new warehouse, Emily makes a friend, and Amber and Dave have a touching moment. Something might be going on here.
How old was your daughter?
Doesn't matter.
Ooh, shut down. Mark finds something in the new warehouse. A safe place.
There's only one way up here other than climbing outside, and those things don't seem to be much good with their hands.
And?
Well, it should be pretty easy to defend. It wouldn't take much to keep them off this floor.
Amber, what are you doing? What about Mark? Hey, what did you find, Derek?
I found water. I found water. I found water. I found water.
Oh, good job, Derek. Maybe you aren't useless after all.
I found the shut-off valve and Derek decided to take credit for it.
Ah, Rick actually found it. Derek brings up the barricade or run argument again. They all decide that it's best to stay in the warehouse for the time being. They all get to work making it safe for the night. Zombies getting up montage! Meanwhile, a man is pushing a woman in a wheelchair. Suddenly, zombie! The man protects himself by lunging the woman into the zombie and runs off. Back at the warehouse, Derek was right all along. This place isn't safe. The zombies got in and it's time to add some more meat to the body count. The remaining survivors head to the upper floor and the roof. Mark gets bitten. Oh no! More survivors are added to the body count due to Derek, of course. Up on the roof, Dave and Derek have a fight. A woman is lying on the roof, bleeding from her sweater as the argument continues.
My gun went off by accident, that's all.
Okay, everybody shut the hell up. Okay, this can wait until dawn.
The next morning, survivors are covering the dead, and Mark has his classic sad, time for me to go scene. He wants Dave to take care of Amber and Emily, of course. Dave is cool with it, and judging by Amber earlier, she might be more than cool with it. Mark and Dave have their predator moment.
You son of a bitch.
Meanwhile, Derek has been rallying a group of survivors to follow him and get out. Big standoff between the two groups. The argument of leaving with room to run and hiding out is brought up again. Dave and Keith talk them all into staying. Derek doesn't want to leave alone again, so they let him stay too. A gunshot is heard off screen. It's probably Mark. Dave goes to him, Amber, and Emily, as Rick starts doling out jobs for the survivors.
We're wasting daylight here, people. You and you, get some rifles and get your asses up on the roof for guard duty. Watch out for outlaws. We got trouble enough already.
Dave runs into a new survivor and convinces him to come along with him.
Just come with me.
Back at base, Dave introduces the new survivor, Warren, to Shelley and the others. 5 or 10 more survivors showed up off screen in the time that Dave was gone. Dave, I thought you were on your way to check on Mark. Derek is rallying up survivors to follow him again.
And Mark?
He's with Amber and Emily.
Oh, turns out Mark isn't dead yet. Warren has an emergency radio and turns it on. It isn't good news. The survivors find out just how bad things really are. The good news is, there are some military rescue stations, because there always is, and spoiler, they're never safe. Cut to Mark, who has his sad monologue, part 2.
Dad's gotta go off and kill a monster. I'm not gonna be able to come back from this fight.
Don't go, Daddy.
Mark goes base jumping. Don't let Emily look at him. Dave starts his new job right away. Amber's not in the mood. Another zombie montage. Not only are they up and roaming around at night, but also the day, and day for night. All the survivors hunker down in the top floors where the zombies can't get to them. Keith and Shelley are in love now. Up on the roof, a couple are having some fun while Dave watches. Suddenly, Amber wants to watch. Oh wait, never mind, she just wants to talk to Dave. Amber's a little flustered by all the excitement happening on the roof, so she forgets her lines.
Even Mark thought so. Why do you think he asked you to watch over us?
Now she wants Dave to stay with her. They're gonna kiss. Nope, they just dissolve into the next day. Derek's back and he's pissed. Whoa, 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 whoa. This went from 0 to 60 in an hour and 3 minutes. Derek's jerk arc is finally climaxed. Our gang overpowered Derek and his crew. Rick and a couple others take Derek and his cronies off to the woods to tie them up and let the zombies get to them. Time passes again. Rick and crew aren't back yet, so Dave and Keith go looking for him. They find him, but he's dead and Derek is gone. While they're out looking for Derek, Derek is back at base with his cronies and they're tearing down our gang's defensive barricade of apple boxes. Shelley catches them and tries to stop them. It isn't very effective, because they get away. Dave and Keith get back to find their barricade in a bit of a disarray. Suddenly, Old Man Zombie is biting another survivor. They restrain him only to find out there are more infected among them, so they kick him out.
We'll go. Roof.
Here come the zombies. Warren takes a tumble and can't get up. He tells Dave to shoot him, so he does. Some survivors on the roof aren't letting Dave and the rest get up there, so Dave takes care of it. We add some more bodies to the count as the zombies reach the room that the survivors are hiding out in. Dave goes back for Amber, but she's getting munched on by a zombie while Emily cowers in the corner. Dave and Keith rush in to take care of it. Keith hits a zombie with a wicked clothesline. It's too late. Amber has been eviscerated. She isn't going to make it. Emily's had a real bad couple of days. Dave has his big Oscar scene, asking God why.
You allow the earth to be run by people with no compassion for anything but money and power? These same people cause this to happen. You allow this pain and suffering at the hands of your own children? If we're made in your image, are you this flawed?
What's left of the group head out to find either a rescue station or somewhere else that will be safe. On the way they happen across one of Derek's group. She's dead. Hey, wait. Are those more survivors back there, or are they on the film crew? Dave, Keith, Shelley, and Beanie Guy split up from the rest to hunt for Derek. Uh-oh, Shelley's missing. They set off to find her. They finally find Derek and he shoots Beanie Guy. Beanie Guy, no! Derek gets Dave and Keith to put their weapons down and knocks them out. Meanwhile, the other group has set off to find Dave and the others. Derek has Shelley tied up to a tree. He's really lost it now. He screams in her face and tears off her shirt just in time for Group B to come in, take him down, and free Dave and Keith, who have been tied up as well. The gang is back together again. They tie up and hang Derek from a tree and leave him for dead as they head off. On the way, they're ambushed by a group of zombies, and we lose a few more. Now the only ones left are Dave, Keith, Shelley, and Emily. They braveheart their way through a horde of zombies and are off to the next adventure. And that's it. That was Zombie Night. It's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible movie, chock full of bad acting, bad dialogue, bad technique, tired story, but some decent makeup and gore effects, and I love it. It's a crowd pleaser. Get a group of friends together, have a few drinks, laugh, and enjoy Zombie Night. Here on Cult Campground Cinema, I've devised a 5 blood drop rating system. 1 drop and you should avoid it. It's not so bad it's good, it's so bad it's bad. 2 drops and it's not the worst thing ever, but really not worth watching. 3 drops and it's definitely worth a watch. 4 drops and it's highly recommended. 5 drops and it's a must-see B-movie. The Room or Troll 2, for example. So with that said, I give Zombie Night 4 drops of blood out of 5. I highly recommend it. So until next time, I'll see you all at the bargain bin.